All right, welcome to day 18 of the 100 Days of Python Coding Challenge. I'm Bill Mosley, and I want to make sure that you know that you can access all 100 days and the index of those days at my website. It's bmosley.com/hdp. So bmosley.com/hdp, and the links to those pages are in the notes for this video. So let's get started. And today we're going to create a randomly generated field of flowers using the turtle module and the random module, as well as nested loops. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is, of course, import the turtle module and the random module. So I'm going to say from turtle import star. That gives me everything from the turtle module and makes those behave as though they are native functions so that I can easily control the turtle. Next, I'm going to import the random module, which I will use to randomly generate the flowers and location. We won't use that until a little bit later, but let's just import it anyway. So the next thing I want to do is I am going to start with a couple of variables, and these will become more clear later, but the first variable is int petals, and this will be the variable that decides how many petals I have on my flower. And I'm going to start with 8 because that's a nice number of petals for a flower. You just have to trust me on that. I've made lots of turtle flowers, and 8 is my favorite. And the style of flower that I'm going to make today is sort of like a daisy looking flower. But of course, you can make any kind of flower you want, and I encourage you to play around. The second variable that I'm going to create is a float variable, and so I'm going to start with FL, and I'm going to call it FL angle. And this is a calculated number, and basically it is 360 degrees divided by int petals. So what this does is it will allow me to quickly come up with an angle that will space my petals evenly, no matter how many petals I decide to have in my flower. So that's kind of the basis for those two. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that my stem of my flower is vertical, and so I'm going to set heading to 90, which is pointing straight up. And I'm going also to say set my pen size because I want to draw the stem. I'm going to make my pen 7 pixels wide, and just for reference, I'm creating a single flower right now, and what that does is it allows me to use that as a model, and then I can just repeat that at different sizes. So I'll show you how to do that, but first thing is to just create a single flower. So my stem is going to be green, so I'll change my pen color to green, and then I just draw the stem. So it's going to be forward 120. That'll be the length of the stem at full size. Okay, so there's my stem. Next, I'm going to draw the flower itself, and so I'm going to change my pen size back to just 1 pixel, and I'm going to change my color to yellow. You can make your flowers whatever color you want. I'm just going to stick with a standard yellow color here. And then I'm going to begin a loop that will draw the petals. Actually, before I create the loop, let's just draw 1 petal so you can see that part first. So I'm going to say begin fill, and then I'm going to say I'm going to draw a part of a circle. So I'm going to draw a 5 pixel circle, and I'm going to draw it for 140 degrees. And then I'm going to draw another circle, and it's going to have a bigger radius. It's going to have a radius of 100, and the extent will be 40 degrees. So it's going to draw part of a little circle, then part of a big circle. I'm going to do this twice. Now I could just repeat those 2 lines twice, but An easy way to fix this or make that do it twice is to throw a loop in here for x in range. And if I want it to do that twice, I just put 0 and 2. And now it will repeat those two lines twice. So a little shortcut just to shorten my code. And then I'm going to say end fill. Okay. And so let's take a look at just that one part. But before I do, I think I'm going to change the screen color to a different color and affect the speed of this as well. So let's change the speed first. The speed is going to be 0, which is the fastest speed. Kind of counterintuitive, but yes, it goes 1 through 10 increasing, and then once you get to 10, the only thing faster than that is 0. So there's some logic for you. And next, I'm going to create a screen object, and that's what I need to do in order to change the background color. So I'll do screen.bg color, and then I'm going to give it cornflower blue, which is a very specific color of blue, but I think it looks nice with the yellow flowers. So let's take a look at what we have so far. Oh, one more thing before I run this. If I put done here at the bottom, then it won't close that window. So let's run this code, and there is my stem and one petal. So far, so good. Let's get back to our code here. And now let's take that one petal and let's make it multiple petals. So how many petals do I want? I want 8. So I'm going to use the int petals as my number in range. So I'm going to say for p in range 0, int petals. And then for each petal, I'm going to draw the petal. And then the next thing I have to do at the end of that is turn to the right. And I'm going to use FL angle because it draws a petal, and then it turns to the right, then draws another petal, and so on. So let's run it with that small change, just the addition of those two lines. And looking good, there is my flower. And if I wanted to, I could say, let's do 15 petals. We could do as many petals as we want. Okay, we can make the flower look however we want. I'm going to keep it at 8 because that decreases the runtime. So just for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to keep that at 8. So the next thing we need to do is I want to draw the little dot at the center of the flower. So after I draw the petals, I'm unindenting now because this isn't part of that loop for the petals. After that, I'm going to go forward, and I'm going to go 5. And the reason I'm going forward 5 is that it relates to the radius here. It has to be the same number there so that it sits correctly in the flower. It'll be a little bit off center, but I think it makes it look cute. I'm going to turn right 90 degrees, and then I'm going to change the fill color to black. Black, there we go. And then of course next up is begin fill. And then I'm just going to draw a little circle. And I'm going to use a -10 radius because that will put it in the right place. And of course, if you want to change the size of the circle or the position or anything like that, you're just going to play with these numbers here. But let's take a look at the end result now. And there is my circle. The little irregularity is actually the mouse, or the turtle here, not the mouse, wrong animal. If I want to, I can hide the turtle there at the end, and then it just shows the flower. So there we go. Looks cute. Think I'm going to keep it. And now all we have to do is replicate that turtle, or that flower rather, a whole bunch of times. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, let me run this again. I'm going to have sort of a horizon here. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to randomly draw the flowers as if they're far away. So they're going to be really small here, and they're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as they come closer to the foreground. So how can we do that? Well, here's how we do that. The first thing we need to do is we need to create a loop to make sure that what we're doing is drawing lots and lots of flowers, and that'll also help us with positioning. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say for y in range, and I'm using for y here because this is going to be a measure of where the flower goes vertically. I'm going to start with 10. I'm going to go just short of 400, and I'm going to do it every 5. So it's going to go 10, 15, 20, and so on all the way to 400. That's my loop. So that gives me, about 80 flowers. If I want to change this number, I could make this number a little lower. I can do all kinds of things. But right now, let's just use that. And so everything that has to do with creating that flower is going to be indented at part of this. All right, so I'm just going to highlight all of that and hit tab. And there we go. Now it's all indented. Now I'm going to get my 80 flowers. But I'm not done yet. Okay, there's a couple things more that I want to do. The first thing I do is I want to create a scale factor, and I'll call it FL scale. And I wanted to use this variable as it changes to create a percentage of 400 so that I can scale those flowers smaller as they're drawn. So I'm going to say y divided by 400. Okay, and that's it. That'll give me a percentage or a decimal that represents a percentage of the total size. And int x is going to be the random placement left to right of the flower. So we're going to say equals random dot randint, and we're going to say between negative 400 and 400. Actually, I'm going to say 500. Let's live on the edge here, literally. And then for each time that I create a new flower, I'm going to teleport the turtle to that new location. So it'll go to that new location without drawing anything, and I'll say int x, and we're going to go y times negative 1. The reason we're doing negative 1 is we're converting y right here to a negative integer because we're going to move down the screen. If we don't, it'll move up the screen, and we don't want that because that'll destroy our illusion of an artificial horizon and the flowers going off into the distance. So this is all good, but so far we haven't done anything to scale the flowers. So we're going to use this, and everywhere there is a distance or size measurement in the rest of this code inside the loop, we are going to use this to scale it down. So all we do is say FL scale, just like that. And I can copy this, and now I'm just going to get in here, and everywhere there is a distance or a size, this is an angle, so we leave that alone, but we are going to do it just like this. Circle negative 10. Oops, this is an angle. We don't want that. So we're going to do that, and that should give us what we're looking for. Let's give it a try and see how it goes. Okay, so we've got some little tiny flowers off in the distance, and they're getting closer, and they're getting larger in size as it draws them. Some are being drawn actually off screen, but the nice thing about that is that it does allow them to get close to the edges. And just like a real field of flowers, we've got some growing in front of others. We've got some bare spots. We've got some some things going on. If I was really concerned about the look of this here, I would maybe draw a nice green hill for these to work on, or something like that, so it looks like they're on something. But you kind of get the idea, and that is a really fun little exercise to do. And you can see how powerful loops and variables become as we see these flowers going from small off in the distance to much closer. And you could do things like change the flowers. You could have it draw random different flowers. You could have it use different colors. So there's a lot you can do here. And playing around with this stuff can be very, very fun. And also, you can get really sucked into drawing random flowers, I suppose. And so we're getting close to being done because we're getting close to the bottom of the screen here. And I think it's going to keep going just a little bit longer here because we have these drawn right up to where our point of view is. So anyway, that is how you draw a random field of flowers using random nested loops and some really clever use of the turtle. Have a great day.